Atmiya Yogamitras, welcome to Yoga Katha series of Yogamitra. After seeing Narasimha, who is a half lion and half man, we come to the dwarf avatara Vamana. ஓங்கி மூலகளந்த உத்தமன் பேர் பாடி நாங்கள் நம் பாவைக்கு சாற்று நீராடினால். Andal sings about Vamana, who came as a small tiny brahmachari who could measure the whole of the three worlds. Ongi ulagalanda. We can learn multiple lessons from this incarnation of Vamana, both from the Vamana side and Mahabali side, for whose sake Vamana came. Mahabali, though he was the grandson of the great Bhakta Prahlada, about whom we saw yesterday in the Narasimha Avatara, he was, though from the Asura clan of Hiranyakashipu, but because he had the devotional inheritance from Prahlada, he did have devotion. He had a greatest of great attribute of doing the charities. But then as he was doing the greatest charities, he had the pride that it is me who is giving and there is no one parallel to me in giving, right? And nowadays we see people who would have just donated a tube light to a temple or a yoga hall, but right to left on the tube light, they would have written so-and-so has donated, who is the son of so-and-so, the grandson of so-and-so, and everywhere it is written. So we have this pride of boosting ourselves, the ego. And that is what Mahabali had. Perhaps he was one of the great kings. Even today in Kerala, the Onam is celebrated, which is the welcoming of Mahabali. So he had all good things, but this ego, which is the dangerous Asuri Sampath, and therefore he had to be corrected. Here Bhagavan did not destroy him, did not vanquish him, but he was protected. He was transformed from the ego, what he had, to a submissive devotee. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says how a devotee should be in a Siksashtakam. Trinadavi Sunichena, he should be tall, he can grow tall like a grass in his devotion, in his great gunas and everything. Right? But he should be humble. The blade of the grass always grows tall, but its head is bowed down in surrender. Trinadavi Sunichena, he should feel himself to be humble. That is how Mahaprabhu says. So that is the lesson which Mahabali has to be taught. And therefore Bhagavan Vishnu comes in the form of a brahmachari, was born to Aditi and Kashyapa. And he comes down with a beautiful Amarla and a Kamandalo in the hand and walks there and comes to the Yajnashala of Mahabali. And realizing that this is not an ordinary brahmachari, it is Mahavishnu himself, the Asura Guru of Shukracharya wants him. In spite of it, Mahabali agrees to give whatever he asks. He said, I want only 3 measurements of land. He was making fun of him. Only 3 measurements. I can give you the 3 worlds. In fact, that is what the Lord is going to take from him. And so through the first, his foot of measurement, though he came as dwarf, he became Trivikrama and grew to the tallest of his height. And with that 1 foot, he measured the entire Bhuloka. The entire Bhumi was taken. And the second, with which he lifted his leg up to the sky, and all the worlds up, we have 7 lokas upwards, 7 downwards. That's what the Shastra says. So he measured all the upper worlds through his leg which was lifted up. And there wasn't a place to put the third. And that is when Mahabali realizes that it is the Lord who has come in this form of the brahmachari and surrenders to him, Ishvara Pranidhana. That is a great yogic message. So he surrenders, and when he put his head down, on his head the Lord kept his feet, by taking him as a true surrendered devotee. So we have to understand that bhakti is a journey from the Asuri Sampath to Daivi Sampath. From Daivi Sampath, even when we have the good qualities, we may have the ego, the desires and all those things. We need to give up that. So we need to do tyaga. So kama plus tyaga is equal to bhakti. And bhakti plus sharanagati. We need to do the complete Sharanagati. That is the Parama Bhakti. That is the ultimate of devotion. And that is what Mahabali, by surrendering to the wish of the Lord, the will of the Lord, teaches us this great lesson of the Bhakti, my dear friends. And from being a dwarf, tiny brahmachari, the Lord grew up to becoming a Trivikrama, Vamana to Trivikrama. That is what yoga can make us. When we start our yoga sadhana, when we start the yoga jnana, dhyana and everything, when we start, we would have been whatever we are in our own humble way. But as we practice, we need to grow, we need to expand. Like the Matsyavatara expanded, right? Being a tiny fish to the gigantic Matsyavatara. Yoga makes us to grow, my dear friends. Yoga makes us to expand our from limitations to the limitless. And that is what the lesson we can learn from Vamanavatara. May Vamana and Trivikrama makes us to grow more and more. Not in our size, not in our age, but in the maturity, but in the sadhana, but in the heights of spiritual upliftment. May Vamana make us all to become Trivikrama. Hari Om.